And we're live.
Yay!
We're live. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. This is. Oh, okay. I've just been asked to hold on.
We are not live.
We're live, but we're not at the part that we're talking yet. And we're live. Welcome. Clap, everyone. Welcome. Everyone who's watching, welcome to Facebook Live with Deepika Padukone. You guys are watching us on Deepika's Facebook and Deepika's Instagram. And here with us is none other than Deepika.
Thank you.
Clap it. Yes, go. Thank you so much, Deepika, for being here. And for everyone who's watching, please greet them, welcome them, say hello.
Happy New Year, all of you and everyone who's watching. Welcome into the new year, and what a great way to start the year.
Absolutely.
And, I think fans, your fans and people who love you always have so much to give. So it's a great way to start the year. So thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being here. It's really lovely for you to be doing this. I think before we jump into anything, before we recap 2018 and celebrate it with your fans, the first thing I'm going to ask you, and I know that you'll be really glad that you don't have to answer this anymore. How glad are you that you don't get asked, when are you getting married?
I wouldn't say glad or not glad. I don't think it ever sort of troubled me, even when I was asked pre-being married. But it's nice. I think being married it's beautiful, and like Ranveer said, I think we'd recommend it to every young person who's in love. And but just be sure, I think don't jump into something, or don't get married because someone expects you to get married, or because there's pressure on you. Know in your heart that that's the right person, and that's the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. And most importantly, I think you need to find someone who respects you, who truly understands you. And companionship and friendship, I think for any relationship to be successful, I think for it to have a great sort of foundation of friendship and trust and mutual respect, I think is very, very important.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Big congratulations on the wedding, of course. I don't think so anyone is like completely unaware that Deepika got married, because Instagram was just basically like blowing up, like those wedding pictures, amazing. So we'll ask you a little bit about it. So congratulations to you and Ranveer.
Thank you.
You guys finally tied the knot and everything looked beautiful and
Thank
amazing. So jumping right into 2018, it's been quite an eventful year. So happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
And just starting right off, how has 2018 been for you? What's been the year like when you look back? And it's not been that long, so now you can start to like reminisce a little bit.
I have to say, I think when I summarize the entire year, it's just been truly magical. It started off with Padmavat, and I think in the way that the film was received, in the way that the character was loved, so it sort of started with that. Then I also spent a large part of last year just working on myself, enriching myself, spending a lot of time with family, traveling, just things that I hadn't done in a really, really long time. Then, of course, the wedding, and a lot of other milestones, in the sense, like the time 100 happened, can happen. So I think there have been a lot of sort of experiences that happened throughout last year. And I would just say magical, and it was very, very different, because I've been working from the time I was 16, 17. And I took last year to sort of just uh, enrich and nourish myself. And I'm so glad I did that because, I think for all of us, I think it's very, very important. And especially in today's, I think in the digital age, it's so important for all of us to sort of take a step back, as much as, I think we're connected. And I think social media allows us to stay in touch. Um, it's very important for us to also take that time to ourselves, nurture ourselves, our feelings, our emotions, and spend time with the people that we love. So I think overall there have been a lot of highlights for me in throughout the whole of 2018, and lots to learn from, and now lots to give back. I've been away from a film set for about a year, and I'm really looking forward to starting my next film.
And I'm sure the fans here are obviously very, very excited. So for anyone who's tuning in, we're live with Deepika Padukone, who has had an amazing 2018, and she's here to celebrate with the fans. Also, we have your fans from all over the city, and I'm guessing the country here with us. This is a little curated session that we wanted to do with your fans to be able to interact with you. Because your birthday went by recently, so happy birthday. Can we all just wish Deepika a happy birthday?
Now, when people have been congratulating me, I'm like, what are you congratulating me for? For the film, for the wedding, for my birthday?
Christmas,
Happy New Year, Christmas.
Amazing. So I think you summarized it quite well when you said that you had an amazing 2018, just enriching and, personally, professionally, and all the accolades and, amazing things that's been happening. Will it be safe to say that Deepika was the biggest newsmaker for 2018? Or if at all, if that title is given to you, would you happily take it and not be modest?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I accept any title gladly. But I think, I understand why. If that's what I'm being called, if, I recently had a magazine cover that had that sort of headline, and I understand why. And I think that's, but I think the beauty is that you don't set out to do anything with that intention. You set out to do things that your heart tells you that you want to do, things that you want to do instinctively, things that just feel correct, and you follow your heart and you follow your gut. And I think everything else follows. So
amazing. Very inspiring, of course. So you mentioned a little bit about being featured in magazines.
If I do get too preachy, please tell me.
Absolutely not. Listen, I think anyone will just be looking and just staring. Anyway, so you mentioned Times and Forbes, and they've ranked you with some of the most popular people in the world, with Vin Diesel, your co-star from Triple X. So growing up, was there always an aspiration to be featured in these top 100, top 50 list, or when you actually do see yourself being featured, what is the feeling like?
It's really bizarre. Of course, growing up, you read about the Time, you learn about the Time magazine, and then you read about the Time 100, and every year there's a list of 100 most influential people, and you always wonder what those people must have done, or how they must be feeling to be featured or to be named. And randomly, out of nowhere, that happened to me last year. My team and I received this email confirming that I was last year's one of the most 100 influential people in the world. And for a second, I had to sort of reread the email, thinking, maybe someone's just playing a prank on me. How is it even
Absolutely
possible?
Not.
What have I done to sort of have that title, or for them to give me that credit? I still do feel like that sometimes. Not to say that I do not appreciate it. Of course I appreciate it. Of course I value it. And of course I know what it means. But I still wonder sometimes, what have I done to deserve that? I don't think I've done anything extraordinary or out of the blue. Or I think, like I said, earlier, I think I've gone about doing the things that I feel are correct in my heart. But it's nice to know that along the way, people have recognized that, and they recognize your contribution, to work and to society. So that's great. You know, it feels amazing. It also, A, makes you feel very grounded. It also makes you feel a sense of responsibility, like you need to be responsible because people look up to you, or you stand for something, and that comes with a lot of responsibility, and I'm willing and ready to accept that.
And very, very well deserved, of course, absolutely. So that's the serious part of it. Like, what are the perks of like being the top, most influential 100 people? Is there a club that we regular people don't get invited to? Like, what is it?
I mean, I have a badge that maybe, that will probably sort of. So you get a badge that I got this time when I walked in. And it's pretty cool. So the people who are nominated or have won or whatever, been nominated for that year, have a different color badge. But for everyone who's been invited, who's been a previous recipient is not the right word, but who've been acknowledged in that list earlier, have the same tag but in a different color.
Oh.
So it's quite cool because you go there and you're meeting people, and a lot of times you're not entirely sure about who the other person is, but you just see this sort of
Okay,
tag,
yeah.
and you're like, you automatically feel like, wow, this person's done something.
Influential.
And then you want to go back and check. So yeah, that was fun. But other than that, it was a fun night. It was just, dinner. We had Shawn Mendes performing, if I'm not mistaken, and Jennifer Lopez performed.
See, so it is an exclusive club. I'm not wrong.
So yeah, it was fun.
Amazing.
It was fun, to
Great.
sum it up.
Lovely. So yeah, so we are sitting and we're live with one of the most influential people in the world, as mentioned by Times. Talking about the movies, of course. I think Padmavat, obviously, career-defining.
I'm going to go back to Forbes as well.
Yes, please.
And I will mention that because I think we are in a very interesting time where, there's so much talk about diversity, there's so much talk of equality, so I think in a time like that, to sort of break into the top 5 is something that I'm very, I'll very openly say that I'm very proud of, because it's not something that has fallen in my lap. It's something that, I've worked very hard towards and very consciously sort of tried to drive home that message that there needs to be equality, not just in the way we respect women or in the opportunities that we give them, but even in terms of remuneration. You need to acknowledge a woman's contribution to, whether it's business, whether it's film, whether it's, whatever field it might be. It's important to recognize the contribution wholly. So I think that for me was also very, very important. Not just for myself personally, but I think for women in the entertainment industry.
Absolutely. And I think you're just trailblazing with all of this. I think being like number 4th on the Forbes list, I think is just, so inspirational for just young people in general, like all over the world and, in our country and young girls. So congratulations again, of course. I mean, we're sitting with your fans, so we cannot not talk about, movies. And Padmavat, obviously, 2018. I think the world was not ready. We were not ready. But I think the performance was amazing. It looked stunning. It looked beautiful. The story was amazing. And I think just all the credit that, goes to, that filmmaking that was so beautifully done. And, the performance that was so amazingly done with you and Ranveer and obviously Shahid as well. So yeah, I think just if everyone can. Like that. Did you guys watch Padmavat, by the way? Big fans, everyone. So
they're like looking at you like, oh yeah.
Yeah, again, none of this needs to
Look
be
at his expression. He's like,
but yeah, so I think Padmavat again, I think just the kind of response and the overwhelming love that you received from your fans, how does it feel? Like it's been a year that you've not been, back on screen.
So I think that when we talk of the film, there's somehow, fortunately or unfortunately, 2 aspects. There was, of course, the